Z.
And if you're digging what you see here, share this show with your friends. Click subscribe, hit the bell, hit the notify button so you never, ever, ever miss a show.
That's right. And today we are very, very happy to have Fatima Kamenge, a Kill the Guru participant and today's guest expert on social responsibility. So Fatima has started numerous businesses in various countries, Africa and Canada, throughout her entire life. She has managed coffee carts and she's managed law firms. She has talked with us about marketing for her business as a guest on Kill the Guru in past episodes, and we'll talk a bit about what that has done for her later on in the show. But today she's going to give us some valuable advice on fostering and maintaining your company as a social, responsible organization. That is so on point in today's world. So welcome, Fatima. It is so good. Yes.
Brent, I was going to say, Fatima's not just like a Kill the Guru participant. She's like a Kill the Guru veteran at this point.
Oh, dear. I'm glad to be back here. I'm glad to continuously have a conversation with you two.
It's such a joy. Yeah, such a joy. So, Fatima, let's start off with what is social entrepreneurship?
What is social entrepreneurship?
What is this?
Well, it's entrepreneurship that cares about the world around you.
Okay.
It's that when you actually put it in simple words, that's it. It's I care about what my business does, what it brings to the world, and I care about it actually making the world slightly better, if not extremely better.
So this is kind of a little bit of a new concept. I mean, I've certainly heard of it in recent times, but if you were to go back 10, 20 years, I don't think it was discussed at all. What's happened? What's the change that you're seeing?
I think global warming, I think all of us starting to speak to each other more, the internet becoming a thing, us starting to see what the impact, negative and positive, of what we do here does to the rest of the world around us. And hearing each other's stories and being connected to each other has made us actually really pay attention to what we do on a daily basis. And we want our businesses to do more. We want our lives to be better. And that's why social entrepreneurship has come true. It's because we don't want to just make a living. We want to make a living that makes the world better, that brings value to every single aspect of our life. We care.
Okay, so let's put this in context, because if I were to, growing up, what do? You make your money and then you give to charity. And then the charities do good things. And then I go back and I make my money however I can freaking make my money. And then, at some point, I give whatever, 10%, something, right? Maybe I do
your taxes.
Yeah.
You participate into the world. But I think at some point, just like there's a movement for people to want to do something that means something to them. Like that's why entrepreneurship is, even just simply entrepreneurship outside of social entrepreneurship, is really blowing up. And it's because people want to do more. They want to be happy going to work. They want to feel valued. They want to feel like their values mean something. And also, we don't always, there isn't a single path anymore. We get to make choices. And because we get to make choices, we're more accountable to our choices. We're more responsible to the choices that we make. And because we do that, we actually sit back and we think about what is possible. The business model now is, hey, if possible, how about that charity, that like the arts, the community growing, economic development, environmental sustainability. What if I could do that while making money? And so, that's where I come in, just bringing us together.
So a couple of things that really leap to my mind with this sort of thing is, one is there's a fairly well-known video by Simon Sinek about it's the why of your organization, not the how. That the making the money is a result of some sort of desire, reason for doing, impact perhaps. Like there's a why that matters, and it matters to your clients. Like your clients aren't sitting there going, I hope I can make you a lot of money. Your clients are like, why are you even doing this? As a way of making money, perhaps that might be the way that the system kind of works.
Mhm.
And so this feels like a connective tissue with that sort of thing. Like there's a why, and for many people, the why is impact, a positive impact. The other thing that goes through my mind is um, people's relationship with money.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Let's do that. So people's relationship with money, because if I were to say, okay, I am going to make money and I'm going to make the most money I can. Oh, you've got multiple hats. This is so
Oh
good.
yeah, we're going with the money hat.
The money hat. Good. Oh, you have a money. I have hats too, although it won't fit with my headsets. Okay, so here you go. I'm going to make money. I'm going to sell a thing,
Mhm.
and if I can get people to buy that thing and I can make a ton of money off of that, I'm super happy. Like if I buy it for $100 and I can sell it for 1,000, yay, I won. Right. And it's good for me. And maybe it's even good for them because they thought it was worth $1,000. So that's cool. But yay, I won. When it comes to social charity work, though, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I did that. You start to reevaluate the equation. Maybe you feel guilty for making money and you think, if I'm doing this for the good of the world, I shouldn't make money.
So here is my question. When you do something out of guilt, or like, whenever you do something out of like, oh, I have to really do this, it's like maybe you got to go to that barbecue with that one aunt that just, ugh, or whatever it is that
Yeah.
is like the kind of thing that you do because it's an obligation, because you feel guilty or you're
Yeah.
shamed into doing it. Chances are you do it in a shitty way.
Oh, yeah.
You half bum it. I don't know how many swear words I'm allowed to use.
You're allowed to use all of them.
You don't do a very good job because it's not like you're just doing it out of shame, out of guilt. And I feel like that's where corporate social responsibility is gone. It's the fact that it's this afterthought of like, oh, we've done all these horrible things to make the money. So now let's greenwash it, just
Make a
attempt of
checklist.
it. Yeah, let's make a little checklist. Let's make it a little better. I bet if you selling that $1,000 product where like, not only am I selling this $1,000 product and I'm making a $900 um, thing, and then I'm going to give 200 away. What if you were to take that 200 and then invest it prior to it and make the product environmentally friendly, make the product sustainable, make the product build community, make the product actually do something that's really socially good? That product itself, not only would you be selling twice the amount of it, because that's the thing, more people would buy it, because it's not just, oh my God, I'm lucky that some people thought that this thing that cost me 100 or 200 or 300 to make cost 1,000. It's that they find an incredible amount of value in it and they want even more of it. You sell more of it if it has true value attached to it. Because then again, you started wanting to do this. You did this out of desire to do it, as opposed to doing it out of obligation. So to me, like, it's a big, important thing. If you do it prior, as opposed to out of shame and guilt, you're actually really doing real impact. I've been in the non-for-profit sector
Right.
long enough to know what's happening. It's like we look at projects as things that we do out of shame and guilt, not out of doing an investment. If we were to look at the work that we do as an investment, where we require return, where we want things to work, because if you build a business and you're like, you know what, I'm just building this, I don't ever want to get a return on this, that wouldn't be a business. It's something that you just don't ever want to see again.
Yeah.
But if you build a business saying, I want a return on this, you ask more of it. You put the metrics in place that make sure that you actually want it to be sustainable, not only economically, environmentally, community-wise, socially, in every single aspect of it. That's the kind of business I'm talking about.
Okay. Fatima, I actually got chills. I get chills when I get like wowed. So my next question was going to be what do you mean when we talk about socially responsible organizations? But you just said it. Basically, you're taking the after fact, the guilt money, right? And you're saying, well, just take that and put it into your product, put it into your service, put it into your intention for what you're doing here, and then let the market forces. That's one of the things that I do like conceptually, and I don't know quite the full picture of it, but I do like the idea of capitalism, or at least small business capitalism, or whatever. I know it's complicated, but the idea that the market is sitting there saying yes, no, en masse, right? It's sort of pulling out inefficiencies. Like if I'm giving you a well and you don't need it, you're not going to pay for it because I don't need it. It doesn't belong here. But if I suddenly say, I have $1 billion, I'm going to build all these wells because I don't know, I talked to a couple people or talked to a bunch of people and they said this should happen or whatever happens, then you're suddenly upending a complex system to try to make it a very simple system. That's what I like about generally the marketplace is it's a complex system which then pushes and pulls and says this one's working and that one's working. And yes, it does it in ways that maybe we don't always like, and there's hidden costs.
Yeah.
So let's take those hidden costs of polluting the rivers and saying, that's not how we're going to do it. We're not going to now donate over here. We're going to actually do this in a way that doesn't do that.
Let's not pollute the river first.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Let's just make that part of our business, our part of our economic model, and still make money, and then have a community that's happy. Oh, I love it so much.
I mean, it's common sense to me. And I've learned that it's not necessarily, because whenever I talk to someone and they're like, yeah, that makes sense. And I'm like, why aren't we doing it?
Let's talk about small businesses here for a moment, and we can go general if you want, but how does a small business start down this path?
Okay.
Like say they're just doing their regular, let's say they're doing $500,000 to $1 million a year. Let's get personal with us, right? So how does a small business that's just kind of doing what they're doing, selling what they're selling, having their standard issues, cash flow, staff, buying, selling, getting sales, figuring out the market, all of that kind of stuff. Where do you start? What's the process?
You listen to your business. Business speaks. Your numbers speak. Your clients speak. Your staff speaks. You yourself as a business owner speaks. You listen to it and you look at the kinks, the little parts where you identify that shame, you identify that guilt, that, oh my God, I don't have the balance. Oh my God, my employees are overstretched. Or I see that maybe there is a little lack of motivation in here. My clients seem to have this other problem that's recurring, or the way I do business seems to I feel guilty about that. I feel some shame about that. You start looking at that, and I'm being general, I'm not necessarily talking about your particular business, and you look at where the money is going. I'm still wearing my money hat. You look at where the money is going. And as the money speaks to you, you look at, okay, how can we take this investment that we're making in marketing, for example, and take that marketing budget and figure out a way how we can invest in the community that we have, in the community that brings us our clients. Because that's what marketing is. Marketing is about connecting to your clients. It's about connecting to that person who's going to come and get some value from what you have to do. You have to offer. How can I use that money that I would usually put in Facebook ads or some sort of marketing thing, and give some value to my constituents, to my client, to my community, in a way that makes them grow and turns them into even better clients.
Wow.
Because when it comes to being a social enterprise, it's you don't always have to do just an environmental thing. You don't always have to do a social thing. You don't always have to do an economic thing. Like we can do, just pick one and start with that. What do your clients need most improvement on? And how can you invest in them so that they become even better clients? So that they can come to you, being able to take advantage of the value that you're bringing to the table even more, which will eventually increase your revenue, because they will be like, oh my God, Zeitgeist is like their place where I got this amount of value. Of course I'm coming back. And not only am I coming back, but I'm coming back because this is the investment you've made in me. And now I can actually make investment in you. The other thing is, you look at your employees. You have talented, amazing people who are, someone like Arthur.
Thank you, Fatima.
Super awesome dude. I bet Arthur could be like, hey, Arthur, how about we set up a system where you mentor a kid from the hood who could be a marketing genius. Maybe, you know what, he went to jail for selling drugs, and he's probably the best entrepreneur out there because selling drugs ain't easy. And you train him into being able to flip those skills into marketing. How would your employees feel if you had a program like that running?
I think they would feel phenomenal.
It's available.
I mean, for some that might be not what connects with them, but that's your point is it's what connects for them. Yeah.
You listen and you find out what connects with your employees, what connects with your business, what connects with your clients. And then you offer that in a way that improves someone else's life, improves the planet's life or a community.
And then you give them resources and some permission to say, yes, you've got some time to do this. And you look at it and you say, and what is it that we want to get out of it? Like, yes, the kid who is a marketing genius. And I totally believe that it's like, it would be an amazing thing for us to have that kid.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the idea of going for where's the shame and the guilt, and actually using that as fuel, as an identification, as a clue of, because that stuff, actually just that stuff in general, whether you realize it or not, it pulls down your energy. And then once you're actually working on it, it increases your energy. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I actually 100% believe in letting go and forgiving yourself and others. No shame, no blame, no guilt. That doesn't mean no responsibility. That doesn't mean no accountability. That doesn't mean no ownership. That just means you take that emotion that's pushing you down and saying, all right, if I want something different, which is usually what shame, blame, guilt, that's all saying, that's an indicator, something different. You actually want something different, and you're going to have to give it to yourself. That could be as simple with that.
Actually,
but
if that is not taking responsibility, what is? Like, letting go of shame is taking responsibility of that burden and that whatever it is, and going forward with something else. That's what taking accountability is. Because if you wallow in the shame and let it take over, what are you doing for you? What are you doing for the world?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just road signs.
They're road signs. Like, read the road sign. If you keep hitting a stop sign and you're like, oh my God, I just need to stop and never go forward. No, you wait. The other car passes, and then you go.
I love that so much. Like, literally, that stop sign is not saying stop, turn around, and go back. That stop sign is often saying pause, check out what's going on.
Take a breather.
Take a breather, yes, and now go forward.
Yeah.
Because it's that fear. So when you actually integrate that into your business, Wow, this is super powerful. Okay, so this is okay. So if it isn't already part of your organization's structure,
Mhm.
you talked about some of the clues on what to do.
Yeah.
How, like, what do you do to introduce this to an organization? Let's just actually get a sense of, let's just turn, actually, I want to just turn this into almost a commercial for you right now. Okay.
Let's do this.
So I'm sitting there, okay, Fatima, I kind of like that idea.
Mhm.
What are you going to do? How are you going to come into my organization? What's you give me a sense of the process? You can give me a sense of the cost if you're willing to share that. If it's too particular, like a service-based thing, then that's okay. You don't have to. If you want to do that more one-on-one.
It
So,
is service-based, but there's a range up there for the people who do it.
okay.
I think some people who, depending on the size of the company, the revenue that they make, and some people do based on their return, the revenue, like their percentage of the revenue. Some people do a fee-based, depending on what you want. The way I come in is that I come in and I stir shit up. It's true. I pretty much stir shit up.
Yep.
I come in and I use the advantage that I have in that moment before I get to know the nitty gritty of your company, get attached to the processes that you have, get attached to everything that you're so happy, so proud of, like the stuff that you're like, yeah, this is our shining diamonds. Before I do any of that, I get to be like, hmm, hmm, yeah, no, none of this is working. Or, you know what? I really like what that is doing right there. I talk to, I gather data from your numbers, of course, and I
Yeah.
gather data from what you want. I get your why. I get your employees' why, which is the most important part. And then whenever I can, I get to your clients' why. And I figure out what your community it does what it does. And once I get a why that might not mean the same to me as it means to you, I come back to you and then I tell you, hey, let's try this, let's try that, let's try this, let's try that. We try a few things because I believe that everything that I need to bring to you should at least increase your revenue by a factor of 50%. If it's not doing that, then there's something that I need to be like, we need to work to a
Did you
point where
say 50 or 15?
50.
Okay.
50 is my goal.
Now you got Brent's
50.
attention.
Yeah, because I believe that you can. I'm a strategy consultant. That's like at the end of the day, where I come in here is to make sure that the revenue is even more financially sustainable so that you can do more of this good stuff that I want you to do. Like, that's my goal. I want to amplify the good that you do, not minimize it. So if we don't have the revenue to be able to continue growing, like I have failed.
Is there anything that you do to coach somebody who's not quite, who's there, but they're like, they keep being pulled away? Like, is there a mindset? Like, how do you support either an executive or even a team of leaders within an organization to go down this path?
I ask them
What are
to
the
listen
common
to them.
pitfalls?
The
Sorry.
common pitfalls are we're all running away from one thing or another. I think we've already established that shame, fear, guilt are things that we don't really want to look at.
Okay.
I virtually hold their hands into going down the cave of looking at their shame and guilt and fear. And
All
I'm like,
right.
I'm here with you as you explore where that is. It is no longer just you alone against whatever mountain you've made out of these things. I'm here with you. And then
Okay.
as we get there, because those are the weapons, like they're so powerful. Because it's usually an idea that it was like so good, but you got too scared to do it.
Okay. So to me, what I'm hearing is typically the reason why you don't do this is because of your fears, perceptions, something.
Yeah,
And
you're afraid
so,
that you're going to lose money. You're afraid that you're not going to be able, like, especially for a small business, cash flow is an issue. Like
Yeah.
actually, like justifying a certain amount of, because putting money on marketing, everybody understands. Like it's so clear. Do you need to put money on marketing? A certain budget of marketing. That's it. Nobody questions that. But this is something that often is not necessarily being proven all over the place. It is common sense, but there isn't 100 years of proving that this is something that one should do. It's not safe. It's at the edge of whatever is comfortable, especially for a small business owner who's always juggling 100 million things at the same time. So being able to tell them, hey, let's start with this experiment and then grow as we go until we hit that 50% increase in revenue.
So here's what I'm seeing you doing. You're like, oh, I've got all these fears of reason not to do it, but now I'm working with you and you're coaching and you're guiding and all that kind of stuff. But what you're doing is you're reframing let's put it this way. I can rationalize not giving anything. Easy peasy. I've got my certain levels, whatever it is. Not yet. I can't. Very simple to rationalize it. Now what you're allowing a person to do is saying, I'm going to speak in your language.
We're making the business
your
case
need,
for it.
Doing a business case. So now you can rationalize going forward with this. Yeah. The same tools that you're using to stop yourself are the same tools that you can use to move yourself forward with something
exactly.
like this.
We're going from this money is for CSR, so it needs to come out of like a certain percentage of the profits after we've completely done everything. This is business development.
Yeah, and when a pandemic hits, okay, we got to chop our CSR
of
because
course.
that's our guilt pay. We need our guilt pay to pay our staff or whatever it is. Well, okay, so any last things you want to share? Because I want to get into your video from Kill the Guru.
Ooh, I get to be your client again. Look at me. I was so happy in my red hat. I want to share, like, you know what? If anybody wants to have a conversation to see where their small business can start looking at, hit me up on my socials at Social Awesome on Instagram, and I'll be there with you. Or Fatima at socialawesome.com. Send me an email. I'm always happy to hear people and talk to people about this. And let's look at what your business could do for you and for the world. Let's go from that single bottom line to that triple bottom line. Who doesn't want more?
Wow. Single bottom line to triple bottom line.
Yeah.
Okay, the single bottom line is cash. What's the triple bottom line?
That's where you get that people and world involved in it. People, profit, world. Like, you know.
Sweet. Okay.
People, planet, profit.
Nice. Triple bottom line.
Patricia says you are an inspiration, Fatima.
I love you, Patricia. Send me an email.
Thank you for sharing your inspiration today. Like being an inspiring leader in this little tiny community that we have here, which is whoever's happening to watch this right now. It's meant a lot. You've been a blessing coming on.
Well, you know what? It's been my pleasure. And of course, I would be remiss in not saying that, hey, if you want to have an off camera, maybe not live to everyone, conversation about your business and impact, let's do this. I love this. This is feeding the community.
Yeah.
The time that you're putting in and doing this is feeding in the community. I like your company, and I want to be able to look at other ways to even grow it better.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Let's sit down. Let's have our coffee. I would really, really, really appreciate seeing you in real life. And you could have some. All right. So we're gonna wrap this up now. Thank you so much, Fatima.
You've tuned in to COVID Marketing with Brent Kobayashi and Arthur Tutt, the show to support small business not just to survive, but to thrive.
Thank you for joining us for this unbelievably epic episode number 89 of COVID Marketing with Fatima Kamenge of Social Awesome, because she is awesome and she's getting out there in the world and she's being social. So just a quick recap. Actually, just watch this whole. I'm not going to recap. Watch this episode back. See what being a company, an organization that has those three bottom lines: profit, people, and planet. And if it resonates with you, hit Fatima up. Ask her, how do I do this? Ask her, can you show me more on the internet and share your gift to the world? Give her the feedback that I know you're going to give her, because wow, was this ever, ever, ever epic for me. So thank you again, Fatima, so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Totally my pleasure.
Wonderful
right.
to see you again.
Good to see you.
Arthur, take us out.
Let's cut it.